Messaging is another element. So while language is kind of the specific words we're choosing, think about the bigger picture of messaging. So a few that I think about that come up a lot for me in practice is it's what we do most of the time, not some of the time. So we eat all different things at all different times for all different reasons. And that is okay. That is the beauty of our relationship with food. There is room for all of it. Keep in mind, it's what we do most of the time, not some of the time, that has the biggest influence on our health. Another area of messaging I like to reference is the scale of choices. And so we can kind of look at this as good, better, best. Maybe someone's choosing instant oatmeal for breakfast. Great, they're eating breakfast. That is a good choice. Better choice might be, can they make that oatmeal themselves rather than choosing an instant pre-made packet? That would be a better choice. If we're working with someone moving towards the best choice, maybe they're looking at choosing steel cut oats and making that for themselves. So a scale of choices allows there to be a lot of wiggle room within the current choice being made. What this can also do is take away this feeling of, oh, I'm doing something wrong, or that's a bad decision. Nope. All food is good food when we're giving our body nourishment. So the scale of choices creates a lot of leeway here. I also like to look at upgrading the most frequent choice first. So again, this kind of ties into what we do most of the time, not some of the time. When we're working with someone on increasing their nutrition and the nutrients that they're getting on a daily basis, a really good starting point is just look at what are they eating every day. So for example, maybe someone has toast and peanut butter every day for breakfast. Amazing. Again, they're eating breakfast. This is great. Can that toast be whole grain? Can it be sprouted grain? Can it be organic or homemade? These are upgrades to the everyday choice that makes a big difference over time in the nutrients getting into their body. Maybe we look at buying nut or seed butter or organic peanut butter. So we're not having to create a stressor by overhauling their entire daily routine. We can just upgrade what's currently there. It's a really nice, easy first step for people. A really important message that I reiterate over and over in consultations is sustainable change. We are fixated on quick fixes now in our culture, and that doesn't work so well for the body all the time. So a really important part of messaging is reminding people that change can be slow and sustainable and that the body loves that. Slow, sustainable change. That is what we're going for here. We also want to look at avoiding these all or nothing behaviors. This ties into sustainable change too. So when someone comes in really motivated to make changes to their diet and improve their current state of health, we want to use that motivation, but we also want to be careful not to do a complete overhaul all at once. That might feel great for a few weeks, but it's more often than not sustainable. So let's really look at this all or nothing and look at slow, gradual change that's sustainable for the body. So avoiding all or nothing behaviors also really ties into deprivation and the pendulum swing that can go with adopting new ways of eating. I see this in practice often when I see people really motivated, particularly around New Year's. This is a great time where it's a resolution that is often extreme. No sugar at all. I'm cutting it out of my diet entirely. Great. Let's think about this as a practitioner for a second. So let's say someone is used to having an afternoon coffee break where there's always some type of sweet. And then they're also used to having sugar in their coffee throughout the day and some type of dessert at night. The motive here is great. They're wanting to improve their health, but how can we actually support them in making that change sustainable? So doing this all or nothing, okay, I'm cutting out sugar, great. Maybe for the first few days, they will power through it. Willpower is a really interesting thing because it has a start and it starts off with a bang and it can slowly start to dwindle over time. So instead of willpower, what about considering what the body wants as change, and how can we be gentle with it throughout, avoiding this drastic all or nothing pendulum swing. So with that example of maybe someone wanting to cut sugar out of their diet, maybe a sustainable change at first could be introducing whole food sources of sugar. So fruit, just fruit for sweet as the first few days. Maybe then less fruit as we go throughout the week. What I always want to reiterate is what happens when a really strong craving comes up. What are we going to do? Is the person then going to hide under their bed until the craving subsides? How are they going to keep living their life? And is that craving coming up for a reason? Sugar is a tricky one. It's probably one of the most common approaches that they want to remove from their diet, common substances that they want to remove from their diet. Think about the gradual reduction and think about what deprivation of that might do. Often when we look at the pendulum swing, deprive, binge. So where's the happy medium here? Maybe it's allowing different form of sweets throughout the week instead of a complete and drastic elimination altogether. I often like to also remind people that cravings are okay. If they're craving something and it is strong, allow it to be. It's so much easier to allow that craving to be and let it pass than resist. Oh, I need all the sugar in the world. Give ourselves what our body wants and be gentle with it. We do not have to be extreme with our bodies or our approaches to food. I got into this profession in order to heal my own personal relationship with food and actually practice moving that pendulum swing to a really nice happy medium for myself. And so this is where I think it's so important to ask ourselves the questions before we ask another. A lot of years has been spent asking myself how I define a healthy relationship with food and what that looks like for me. So I think it's helpful to keep in mind that everyone's answer to that is very different. My relationship with food has gone from being restrictive and all or nothing to a place where I am okay allowing myself to eat the things I want to eat when I want to eat them, understanding that there's certain foods that work really well for my body, and sometimes I don't always eat those, and that's okay. My relationship with food has changed dramatically to be inclusive of everything. And I think it's important when we're working with people to remember that it's not just the exact foods or nutrients we're eating, it's the state in which we're eating them. This is what makes a holistic approach to nutrition.